The information in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Consult your healthcare provider for proper care regarding your specific situation.
Welcome to Rattled Nurses, the podcast that's here to shake things up when it comes to pregnancy, breastfeeding, and postpartum care. Hosted by two experienced nurses, we're bringing you real talk, expert advice, and a whole lot of laughs as we navigate the wild world of newborn care.
Whether you're a first-time parent or adding another little one to the mix, we've got the tips, stories, and answers you need to make this journey a little easier and a lot more fun. So grab your coffee, even if it's cold, get comfy, and let's dive in.
Welcome back to week 3. Thanks for coming back and talking to us. I'm Sarah.
I'm Dalayna.
This week we're going to talk about feeding options. Breast is best?
Question mark?
We're going to talk about different formula, breastfeeding, supplement. There's different options out there. We'll help navigate you through them. First, I have to tell you a joke. Okay.
Tell me.
So we have that Marco Polo app. You and I use it.
Yes.
My nephews and my nieces and my nephews also use it with me. Okay. So my nephew got on there not that long ago, and he was talking about his bike that he had just gotten. He was describing it to me, the color, where he rides it. They live in like a little cul-de-sac area. And he was telling me, well, it keeps falling over. Well, why? And I was like, did it not come with a kickstand? Do we need to fix it? And he goes, no, it just keeps falling over. It doesn't matter where I put it. And so I'm trying to talk through it, and see what options there are. Like, maybe you could take it back. He's like, no, I think it's just because it's too tired.
Womp womp.
Too tired.
Too tired.
Okay. Anyway, so we're going to start talking about breastfeeding. We'll do the pros, cons, whatever. You can drop us a line, see what questions, experiences you have. With that being said, everyone thinks about what they're going to do after delivery. Their birth plan, they want to know what their options are for birth, for delivery. Well, when the baby comes out, yes, a lot of people want to breastfeed. That's great. We just recommend doing a little bit of research on breastfeeding prior to doing so. It does have a lot of wonderful, phenomenal benefits, and it also has great benefits for mom and for baby. Okay. One of them, your most important one being bonding. It's natural. It's, promotes bonding. Baby's next to you. You're next to baby. Hormone production. All sorts of good things. However, it's pretty difficult. It is a difficult thing to do. So it does require a little bit of research, a little bit of hands-on, and you never know how your baby's going to act when it comes out.
Mm-hmm. For some people, it is so easy, and for others, it is so hard, and it's stressful, but we're there to support and help you as much as you need us to. And lactation nurses.
You have those, yes?
Those are usually available almost every day of the week during the day, not always at nighttime. Some hospitals have them all the time. Others don't. But your nurses should, be knowledgeable enough to help you. We've had to do training.
I was going to say, we've
done extensive training on breastfeeding, taking classes. And actually, when I started my job with the company that we're with, it was a 40-hour training class that we had to do. So much information. There's a lot more to it than lay people would think.
Yes. We also did, so we did that, and then we shadowed our LC for, I think it was like at least 12, at least 12 hours. It just depends on how busy it was at the time. But we shadowed the LC for a little while, which is lactation consultant. Mm-hmm. We shadowed our LC for a couple of shifts just to, get more hands-on, see what techniques they have. So they teach us everything that they know as well. So we'll get you there. We'll help you. We did talk about it's natural, promotes bonding. It's cost effective. It will be there when the shelves are no longer filled with formula. You will still have your breast. So as long as you keep still stimulating and telling them to make milk, they should be able to help you out. It does have great immunities. It will help baby's immune system. Your body makes everything it needs for baby. It's got everything that baby needs. It also helps with postpartum recovery and weight loss. Allegedly weight loss. We'll just say it's just because your body is burning more calories. But it does help with recovery. It does help bring your uterus down. It releases that wonderful oxytocin hormone, brings your uterus down, keeps your bleeding controlled, helps you get through your postpartum phase a lot quicker.
And even helps with, like, that oxytocin is a mood enhancer. It relaxes you. It's what they call the love hormone.
The love hormone.
And so moms feel a lot less stressed and anxious sometimes when they're breastfeeding.
Sometimes. Yes.
Granted, everything's going well. Sometimes, like I said, breastfeeding can be stressful. Usually that will pass within the first couple of weeks once you and baby both learn. It's a learning process for both of you. And even if you've done it before, every baby is completely different.
Facts.
You may have been able to breastfeed your first baby from the get-go with no problems whatsoever, and the second one just doesn't know what to do. Sometimes they'll get right up there on the nipple and they'll just scream at it. It'll be in their mouth. They don't
Just
latch
yelling
down.
at it.
Yes.
Don't yell at your dinner. There are also a lot of long-term benefits for mom. Studies have shown it can reduce your risk of uterine cancer, breast cancer, things like that, just that delay in hormones. But again, everybody's different. Every human's different, but studies have shown there's also long-term benefits for mom as well as baby. Thoughts?
Sometimes it is hard for moms to think that they're actually giving their baby enough.
That's true.
Or it's not what they need. But your body is making the amount, and it's even formulated different from the very first drops until, all through the feeding process for however long you choose to breastfeed. Your body changes the composition of the breast milk when it needs to.
Yes. It's intuitive, very much so. It'll pick up on what baby's doing. Even there's antibodies in the baby's spit, like once attached to the breast, can allegedly help change the microflora of the breast milk to help with that, for protection, better protection. It also does help with that, creating that gut flora and protecting baby's gut health and microbiome, things like that. That prevents, colic, supposedly.
Yes.
Some babies still have issues, but yes, it will help. You're not overfeeding. There's no such thing as really overfeeding when it comes to breastfeeding. Your body makes what it needs to for baby. With that being said, your first few days are difficult because you're not making milk quite yet. You start off with colostrum, which is wonderful. It's nice. It's honey thick. It's what baby needs. However, they do go through a cluster feeding stage.
Yes. Typically, I would say around night 2. It varies a little bit sometimes. But usually when they're getting close to like that 18-hour mark or so,
Yes.
Oh my goodness, they just want to be on the breast non-stop.
Okay, listen, they have a little pattern. They feed wonderfully right out of birth, right out of the womb after labor and delivery. Like, they'll feed wonderfully that first feed. And then they'll forget what they're doing. Like, they forgot how to even be a baby. So moms will get down to postpartum and say, I did so good. We did so good that first time around right after delivery. They did phenomenal. But they get tired, they get exhausted, and they take a big fat nap. And while we tell you that we want you to try to feed them every 2 to 3 hours, sometimes it doesn't always happen.
The word is try.
The word is try. Sometimes it doesn't always happen. They get exhausted. They are trying so hard to transition from life outside the uterus. That they went from their buffet of umbilical cord to doing everything on their own, and it's hard for them. And then usually after everyone's stressing out all day trying to get baby to latch, and maybe it's time for a nap, then baby likes to start cluster feeding usually. Then they want to live on the breast all the time.
Yes. 100%.
Yes. It's a good thing though. What that is doing, that cluster feeding is really telling your body what it needs to make for baby. It's a supply and demand situation.
I always tell moms, I said, baby's doing his job right now. That's
Very-
his one job,
Yes.
is getting your breast to make milk.
Yep.
And he's doing his job really well.
Sorry you don't get to sleep, but this is what's happening. Here's ways we can help you.
Yes. But we do want to always make sure that the baby has a good latch.
Yes.
Because a bad latch, even for just one feeding, may wreck you for a day because it can totally blister or bruise.
Crack.
Yes.
Yes.
Your nipples, they may start bleeding. And once that damage is done, there's nothing that we can do besides just give it time to heal.
Yes. Sometimes that initial damage happens at that first feed. Love my labor nurses. I love the ladies I work with, but sometimes if they don't identify the things that the latch that needs to be corrected, then it sets us up for failure. Like we are trying our best to work around your pain and baby's hunger at the same time. So that's one of the many difficulties that can be accompanied with breastfeeding. Also tired. When you're cluster feeding, mamas get so tired. They finally have gotten some of that adrenaline out of their system and they're just exhausted. And then when you think that you have that 5 seconds to nap, nope, baby wants to feed some more.
Well, the one thing that we do, being on night shift, we often have a nursery nurse, and I'll say, Mom, sometimes we just got to get the baby out of the kitchen.
I think I got that from you. When I tell people that, I think I got that from you.
So, the babies can smell their mamas. They know their mama. Oh my goodness.
That's all they know.
From across the room.
The smell, the sound. Yeah.
And they know when you're in that room and they want to be with you and on your breast every second. And some babies will just be content if we just take them out of the kitchen.
Then they're like, I don't smell her anywhere. I'll just go to sleep. Yes.
Well, it's amazing. Sometimes, and all moms don't want their babies leaving the room, and that is completely fine. It's a choice. But I always offer that because sometimes you're just so tired. You say, I just need a break. But believe me, I have so many mamas that don't really think that they're afraid their baby's going to be in the nursery crying the whole time.
They're not.
No, if your baby is crying and displaying signs of hunger, I'm going to bring that baby right back and we're going to say, okay, I was wrong. We need to breastfeed.
Breastfeed some more.
But I would say probably at least 75% of the time, that's not the case. Usually that baby is sound asleep before I even get all the way down the hallway to the nursery.
This is so true. This is so true. Even just for like the standard testing for just a few minutes when mom is either going to take a shower or take a nap. Yes, baby, down the hallway after that little rolling sensation, they conk right out. It's wild.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty. That's my caveat. Please don't feel guilty for sending your baby to the nursery. If that's something that you choose to do, it is there for you. We are there to support you. If you need a nap, please utilize it. That is what it's for. Do not feel guilty.
Well, it's just like when you go flying on an airplane. If you have small children with you, they tell you, you pull that oxygen mask down, you put it on yourself first because you cannot take care of the children if you're not conscious.
Take care of yourself first.
It's the same way with breastfeeding. Like, you're not mentally there if you're not rested a little bit. Yes. And so sometimes you just really need that. And it's so heartbreaking whenever it happens, but there have been rare instances where our moms have just been so exhausted that they do literally fall asleep with a baby in their arms, and the babies have been dropped.
Yes.
And we know that's never on purpose, but we do offer a nursery for that reason. You just can't let yourself get to that point. You've got to take care of yourself before you can take care of your baby. And we got you. We got your babies. Nothing. We're not going to let anything bad happen.
We have your best interest in mind. We really do. I know sometimes it doesn't seem like that, but we really want you to rest. We want you to bond with your baby. We want it to be a positive experience. So please, if your nurse offers that and you're okay with it, please do not feel guilty.
And even if you're in a facility where there is no nursery offered, you know, your support person that's with you can always take the baby, you know, just even if it's across to the other side of the room, swaddle them, hold them, let you get your rest. Sometimes moms and dads have to take turns sleeping.
I think the one time I had a baby fall, it was the dad holding baby in the chair, trying to let mom get some rest. And so dad was holding baby in the chair, and then of course they're so cuddly. I mean, they're so cozy. You fall, like, dad fell asleep, his arms relaxed, baby went to the floor. He felt so guilty. I mean, we try to allay that guilt too, but then we took baby to the nursery and let everybody take a nap. So
yes. So if you're to that point, never feel bad about asking for help, or if the baby can go to the nursery. It's not a bad thing. And I promise you, we don't give your baby anything that you don't want them to have when they're in the nursery. We don't plop pacifiers in their mouth unless you give us the okay and that's what you want. We don't give them formula. We don't do anything.
I think we keep each other in check on that too. We're like, nope, this is a breast only baby. Don't do that. Especially if your baby is having difficulty latching. If we give it a pacifier or give it a bottle, that's going to disrupt all the work that we've done with you and all the work that lactation has done with you, because they do get a little confused in those first couple days. So it is a learning process, but yes, it can be difficult. It can be tiring, especially when that cluster feeding happens. It can increase anxiety sometimes too, just depending on your personality type. Yes, it does promote that bonding, and sometimes in moms can reduce anxiety. But I do have some moms that it increases their anxiety because they can't latch correctly. They don't see how much baby's getting. They don't know if they're doing it right. They can't seem to get it right. So, and they blame it on themselves. So it becomes a massive insecurity for them when they are unable to latch independently. We're there to help you, but sometimes they'll do it alone, and when they can't, it upsets them greatly.
And there's never any pressure. I feel like some moms feel like, just from society in general, even if it's a family member, you know, a grandparent or somebody telling them that they need to breastfeed, and you've got to do what's right for you.
I had one like that a couple days ago. I did, and she didn't breastfeed her first baby. She said baby wouldn't take the breast. Fine, cool. But she wanted to try it for this baby. And then I went in, she says, okay, she called out asking for lactation. Well, lactation goes in there, is talking to her about a latch. And we're like, is your latch comfortable? And she goes, it's not the latch. She goes, I just don't feel comfortable with my baby breastfeeding, like on the breast. Like the sensation itself is not something I'm comfortable with.
Yes, I've seen moms.
And
like
I said,
sometimes.
okay, there are options. And I said, let's get you a pump. We will teach you how to pump. If that is more comfortable physically, emotionally, whatever for you, if that's more comfortable for you, that you can still offer your baby your milk, there's ways to get that milk out. There's ways to get that colostrum out. Let's teach you how to do that. And just from her learning of those other options that were available to her, I could physically see her anxiety drop down. Like, she's like, okay, I think I'm better. And I think I'm ready to go home. I said, okay, I got you.
Yes. Sometimes it's like a huge weight just comes right off your shoulders.
It is. And then we've had some moms come to the floor and come to us, and they were like, I didn't want to breastfeed. They just put the baby on my breast, and I don't like it. Okay, no problem. We can fix that. What do you want? What do you want us to do? We're here for it.
100%. We've got formula. And, for mamas that, if there's medical reasons that your baby really needs to have more.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we've got other options.
Our other option, for sure, is formula. It's easy. Yes, it's easier to access. You can definitely count how much baby's been feeding. You don't necessarily have to wonder about how much baby's getting in the milk because, it's right here. For example, here's our Similac. This is what we give. This may be not your necessarily formula of choice, but here it is. And it's easily calculable. Is that the word? Is that a word? I don't know. Countable? Not good with verbiage here. Measurable.
There we go.
It's like the reading rainbow.
Yes.
Measurable. So it does have mils back here. We'll tell you how much we can, how much you should be feeding, or we can count how much baby's exactly eating. That in and of itself helps moms with their anxiety. They're like, nope, this is easier. Uncle Jesse can feed baby while I'll take a nap, whatever. So, and then it's a family choice. It's up to you. You do your research, whatever. The cons of formula feeding. It's expensive, y'all.
It is.
It's expensive.
Especially the pre-prepared formula.
Yes.
Powder is not as much.
Yes. This is the pre-prepared kind. This is no mixing, just a little bit of shake here and there. But yes, it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not always available during, world health pandemic. There we go.
Yes.
During pandemics, it was difficult to come by. People would hoard it. People would mark it up, sell it, or if you have a specific kind, like if your baby's on a specific kind of formula that is difficult to find, it was impossible.
Yes.
Near impossible. So, and there's other variations out there. There are some people that want to bring their brands. Yes.
Yeah.
There's some people that want to bring in their own formula.
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen some mamas bringing in formula that they ordered from overseas.
Sure. Okay.
So for, I'm not sure why, but they're different.
Yeah.
Different kinds of formula. And that's totally fine. You can give whatever you choose. I can tell you that at the hospital, if you're not feeding breast milk or donor milk or the formula that we provide, then we do have you sign a release form that holds the hospital not liable if there's any, problems with the particular formula that you have. But otherwise, you're welcome to give whatever you choose. I will say that if you bring in powdered formula, make sure that you're reading the directions.
Read the directions.
Always, because there's a certain way that you're supposed to be mixing a powdered formula that a lot of people don't know. Yeah. Like a sterile water or water that's been boiled, just to reduce the chances of bacterial growth.
We don't have sterile water readily available on our unit. In a pinch, we can get it, but please read your directions on the back of your formula or whatever you're choosing to give. We know there's organic ones, but there are sometimes the powder formula, they do allow a certain amount of bacteria for it to pass certification, to pass quality, I guess, if you will. And that's why they do recommend putting it with a sterile water, a boiled water, boiling it before, what have you. So yes, if you're going to bring your own special formula that you want to use, please read the back of it. I've also had someone bring in, it was their mixture of like goat milk, chia seed.
Oh my, I haven't seen that before.
Oh my. So it was that one. And then I had to get the pediatrician to be like, okay, well, this is what we have. We'll just monitor the weight loss. It's more important that you follow up with a pediatrician to make sure that those nutrients that you're giving are beneficial to your baby. So it's expensive. It can sometimes be a little bit more difficult depending on There's a risk for overfeeding. Newborns have a tummy that's like this big, like probably less. It's about the size of a marble.
Yeah, shooter marble.
And so if you feed this whole baby, try to shove this entire bottle within a marble, it's going to get upset. I have that happen quite often. Like sometimes they don't have a stopping point for themselves. And they get real upset when they're full.
Oh, yeah. They like to suck. So they'll just keep sucking it down. And then you see it all again in a little while.
So, yes, that can be one of the problems, too, if you're not carefully measuring pretty much how much you're giving. You do have to be careful of that.
Yeah. I usually say that first day, it's recommended 15 milliliters or less.
Yep.
Just for reference, that's 3 teaspoons.
Yes. I'll show it on here.
And that's a full belly for
15.
a newborn baby.
15, yes. That's a full belly. Otherwise, you'll see it coming back up. They do want a little bit more as your days and your weeks go on. Absolutely, they're growing. But that first day, please don't try to give them a whole bottle. They will be very upset.
That's what's recommended in our like general newborn nursery world. Now, if your baby is in the NICU, they do their calculations totally different.
It is a calculation for them. It's like milligrams per milliliter per kilogram per calorie per.
Base it on the baby's weight and how many calories they need to intake. So that the conversation we're having, it doesn't apply if your baby's in the NICU. Those nurses are doing a whole different thing, and that's based on doctor's orders.
Yes. Another thing too is that breast milk is specifically designed for the baby's nutritional needs. Formula doesn't necessarily do that. I mean, we've got additives. We can add our iron, our DHA, our vitamins. We can add those things in, but your baby might have decreased immunity with that. So also apparently decreased brain function. I was a formula baby, so maybe that tracks.
Well, I was too, actually. So sorry, y'all.
Yes.
We're doing our best.
You know what? My husband was completely breastfed. He was full breastfed kid. It was her third kid. He was fully breastfed. He still has brain problems. He still has anxiety. He still has colon problems. So I don't know what to tell you. Breast, bottle, they're going to eat a chicken nugget off the floor. It doesn't matter anymore. So just feed your baby, please.
Yes. Fed is best, for sure.
Best. So what else? Reasons to supplement.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I would say the biggest reason that we see, two really. One would be weight loss. We are going to weigh your baby at least daily. We do it at the 24-hour mark and then every day beyond that, just to make sure that baby's getting what they need. We don't want the baby to lose. Okay, so let's say almost all babies are going to lose weight, whether they're formula or breastfed. Not all formula babies do, but the majority still lose weight.
Not a bad thing. It's normal.
Yes.
It's very normal.
And then we watch to make sure that they don't lose more than 10% of their birth weight prior to going home.
Yes. So we've said this before. We don't want your baby going to NICU. With that being said, if we feel like there is a necessary reason that we're going to suggest supplementation, odds are it's to keep your baby out of the NICU. Please heed that warning. So a lot of the times we'll have babies that are just unstable. They're unstable. Their blood sugars keep dropping. They can't keep a stable blood sugar. They can't keep a stable temperature. We do offer supplementation to help those babies transition a little bit faster. Yes, you don't have to stay on the supplement the entire time unless the doctor says so. But we do offer that because sometimes what happens is those babies will suck, and they're not getting what they need. Their blood sugars will start dropping. They're burning calories just from trying to eat, and they just can't seem to stabilize. So we will suggest a supplementation for babies in that case. And like I said, it's to keep your baby out of the NICU and with you. Okay, we're not just trying to be bad nurses, anti-breastfeeding. A lot of people still have that opinion of the healthcare field. That's
No. And we even tell you to breastfeed first. Breastfeed first, and then we'll supplement
after. We do offer, and our facility does offer donor milk. So if you are just wanting to do strict breast milk and you're not wanting your baby to have a drop of formula, we do have donor milk available. It is higher in calories. It is easier on baby's belly. We can get that for you. So wherever you plan on delivering, having your baby, see if that's an option, so that in case your baby needs some sort of supplementation, then they may offer donor milk. I think a lot of people are trying to do that. A lot of hospitals,
a lot of facilities, I believe, are.
That. Yes.
And that comes from a milk bank where it has been pasteurized. It has been thoroughly tested to make sure that is safe for baby, and there's no, hepatitis or anything like that that's going to be passed through.
It's equivocal to a blood bank. Like they kind of get it all together. They type and cross the baby, the mom, whatever. Well, just the mom, whoever's donating. They'll do a screening, make sure they don't have any infectious diseases, make sure they have, I think one of them, they haven't been overseas in the last 6 months or so, just so there's not like communicable diseases. But yes, they test mom, they get it together, they pasteurize it. It's specifically portioned out as well. So you're not getting the higher colostrum content. You're mostly just getting milk, but it's something.
And I can also tell you that when you're getting donor milk, those bottles that we receive from the milk bank, that's not always necessarily just coming from one person. It may be multiple women that have donated, and it may all be mishmashed together in there. So I've had parents ask me before, because they're vegan and they don't want their baby taking anything that was donated from someone who's not vegan. That is not something that's checked. So we can never tell you that that's the case.
Again, it's like a blood bank. It's like I can't take blood from someone who had strawberries 3 days ago. I can't help you there.
Right.
That's just something we don't know. It brings it all together, and then they pasteurize it and they clean it. So
yes. Another thing I was going to talk about was, so reasons that we would want to supplement with.
Yes.
Anything. Okay. So we talked about weight loss. Sugars. And the third one I could think of would be jaundice.
Oh, yes. Oh, jaundice. Yes. We still have to have a whole episode on that. But yes, jaundice.
So, we have the baby, we want to make sure that the baby is taking in enough to eat to flush all that, excess bilirubin out of baby's body. And so that's a reason to supplement with either formula or donor milk after you breastfeed. So that option is always there.
I will say, when you Google breastfeeding benefits, one of the things that comes up is decreased jaundice. And I'm going to tell you, that's not necessarily the case when you just have colostrum and your baby doesn't have a constant source to flush out that bilirubin, which, by the way, bilirubin is excreted in fecal matter and in urine. So if you're not putting a lot in, then not a lot is coming out. So therefore, the bilirubin just kind of stays there for a little bit, which may cause a little bit of temporary increase in jaundice until your milk comes in. When you're breastfeeding and your milk is coming in, then we're golden. Then that helps really push things through. But the first few days,
it's about volume.
Yes. So there's that. So supplementation wise, if need be, for those reasons, we've got donor milk. We've got different types of formula. We have, I think our facility just has Similac.
Yeah, that's the only brand that we have. Yes. But we have multiple different formulations of Similac.
Formulations of formula?
Formulations.
There's different formulations of formula?
There is.
Magical. So yes, there's like sensitive, there's spit up, there's soy, what have you. They are kosher. They are halal approved per Similac. But yes. You know what's unfortunate too is WIC. WIC doesn't cover Similac anymore, do they?
Oh, I have no idea about that.
I think they just cover Enfamil if they're just doing so.
Huh.
So look into that as well.
And just this last week, I had a mom tell me that she had heard that if your baby starts on Similac, that they will never take Enfamil, but that's not the case.
That's not true.
Your baby doesn't care about brands.
It doesn't. Y'all, we have to teach the babies. You do have to be smarter than the baby. If you're going to switch things, you know, you may worry about upset stomach. You can do a little transition, but sometimes we just have to help them be like, okay, well, your job is to have this formula, so let's get to sucking. Let's eat, okay? And then they'll be like, yeah, okay, fine, I'm hungry. So they don't care about brands.
Mm-hmm. And with that being said, too, like if you're supplementing at the hospital with donor milk, and then when you go home, you're not going to have donor milk. So
yes.
If you need to supplement, you're going to have to give formula. I have a lot of parents that are very disappointed when they find out that
we can't give that out.
Go home with any.
Expensive, y'all. It is so expensive. I mean, sure, you can probably contact the milk bank in your area and see if they'll sell you some.
But we're talking big bucks. We're talking like $1 per mill.
It's like $100 for one of those little 100 ml bottles.
And
pretty sure.
Yeah. By the time this baby's
that's hospital bulk cost.
A couple of weeks old, this baby's going to be drinking a whole bottle in a feeding in a few weeks.
So also, if you are going to obtain any sort of breast milk from other donatees, please be careful.
AKA family members and friends?
Either that. So I've had some people try to get it on Facebook.
Oh, no.
Please no. Please be careful because you don't know what...
That makes me cringe every time I hear it.
It does. It makes me cringe as well. So, I mean, if you've got trustworthy family members, great. Sure, we'll just have you sign a little release form to authorize that. But please just be cognizant and think about where you're getting your milk from. Whatever that person has ingested, your baby will be getting. So.
Yes.
What else on that?
Let's see. Can't think of anything else.
I mean, I think I turned out okay being a formula baby. My husband might differ sometimes, but I think I did okay for myself.
That's funny.
So yes, you can bring your own formula. You can just wrap up. You can bring your own formula. Just read the directions on the back so you can have whatever supplies. Our hospital does have like palm olive type of soap, dish soap. So if you need something to wash it with, you can bring your own pumps. But as far as if you're planning on breastfeeding, wonderful. Do a little research, check to see what types of feeding methods there are. There's different positions, there's holds, there's tools if you've got flat or inverted nipples.
Maybe we can do a whole episode on that.
I know.
Bring an LC in.
I thought about that. Yes, let's do that.
We should do that.
Okay. Just do a little research beforehand. Be knowledgeable.
Yes.
Yes. Don't worry about like all the things that happened before. Worry about the things that happen after.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I think that's it for today. Any other thoughts?
I think we're good. Like I said, I'm just happy if your baby is fed. Fed is best.
That is best. So,
and
yes.
It's always your choice. Don't feel pressured.
And let your nurse know if you really are not feeling it, or if you're feeling like, okay, well, I would like to offer a bottle, but Grandma Joe is telling me that I shouldn't. So, we're here for you. We're not there for Grandma Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So please let us know. Talk to your nurse. We are open to whatever you want to do.
You're not going to disappoint anybody.
You're really
it's
not.
Fine.
You're not. All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks for joining us. Like and follow and subscribe.
Bye. Thank you for listening today. The Rattled Nurses podcast is not intended to provide medical advice. It is not endorsed by our employer, and we are not speaking on behalf of our employer. Our commentary and stories are our own.
Also, on a serious note, we want you to know that if you are feeling blue or depressed, it is okay. You're not alone, and there is always someone to reach out to. You can call the National Maternal Mental Health Hotline at 1-833-TLC-MAMA, or text the crisis line, text HOME, HOME, to 741-741. Remember, you're doing a great job. Now go warm up your coffee.